Welcome to Hacking Business Technology, the old school ITSM podcast. Welcome, Mr. Mark Kawasaki.
Hello, how are you?
So I just decided to stand up because I was sitting.
Ah, okay.
I have a stool and I usually don't sit, but several people have commented that I move around a lot, and I guess I just kind of want to keep delivering the same service.
Very good.
So we didn't have a ton of topics today, so I am my usual narcissistic selfishism, which is a term I just coined, want to show something that I came up with that I think is really cool, that sort of debunks all enterprise management systems ever created ever.
Oh, let's see it.
Yeah. I mean, that's a pretty big promise, right? But share entire screen. Okay, so we're going to set this up live. So what it is I got tired of waiting for leadership to build a solution that would allow me to build a catalog of what I'm able to do as an employee. Let's call it like a talent board or whatever. And give me a way to manage my workflow, demand into tasks, into time reporting, because that's basically all that I do. So what I did is just created a Google form. So let's go through it. We'll just set it up. And I think that this, like I said, it replaces all enterprise systems. So let's set it up. Let's do like a request catalog as if it were for an IT department, right?
Okay.
So there's going to be some things that you miss along the ways because this isn't a custom application and we're not doing a lot of coding, and I assume you can see my screen at this point.
Yep. So you're setting up a new form in Google Forms.
Yep.
Okay.
And so something that we miss right away is Active Directory integration, right? I have to ask people for their name. Maybe Google Forms has an option for me to script this out of their username in Gmail or whatever if you're using Google Apps, but I don't know exactly what's possible there. So we're just going to ask them for their name and make it required. Ask for their contact info, whatever. It's a simple text entry. Maybe we've got some standard items, so that's a multiple choice, right? Like, what are you requesting? And then we've got things like mouse, keyboard, laptop, Office 365, whatever.
Yep.
And then, add other because we want them to be able to request anything in the whole world. And they do a request, and then, let's ask them for paragraph text. Please describe. And this is how you type into a computer. Okay, so then when we're all done, if you're not familiar with Google Forms, what this form does is it's a public-facing form, so I can actually just take this link and give it to someone to fill it out, or I can embed it in a web page, whatever I want to do.
Okay.
And then this form actually by default already will populate a Google Sheets document with the results. So it creates columns for the data. And this is really like your back-end database then, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I needed to be able to do is be able to put that to some sort of work management system. And if you paid any attention to anything I've said ever, Trello is definitely one that I really have a lot of respect for. So let's create a new board, and we're going to call it requests. It'll be a private board. And really what we're going to do here is just put in the state of the request. So this one, we'll do self-service, draft in case someone calls me, new, work in progress, fulfilled, completed.
Okay, so these are like different states that they can be in?
Yeah, exactly. So each one of these requests is going to come in as a card to Trello. And then I want, like, if someone calls me up directly, I'm going to say, Kathy S. is requesting.
Okay, so that's where it comes in through a different method there.
And then what's nice about it is, it's got checklists, so let's say, I've got a standard mouse checklist. I need to order mouse, pick up at dock, deliver to customer, and bill customer, survey customer.
Okay, so these are your fulfillment tasks.
These are my fulfillment tasks, and what I'm doing is I'm just creating that, and there's threaded conversations, so I could say Kathy called and is looking for this. Where is it? I can @mention people and they'll get notifications. I can actually, if there are multiple people on this board, you can assign them by just dragging their name over to the card, so it gives them assignments. So, just standard internet stuff, attachments, due dates, there's notifications via email out of this thing, and then a full thread of everything that's happening on this board that's consumable. But the key is really getting these two to talk together. You can use a service which I've also talked about a lot called Zapier. We could just make a Zap. What it does is it connects the two. So you choose which app, and Zapier, however you want to say it, has a ton of apps. I mean, look at this. There's several pages. We're not even through the A's yet. You see things like Basecamp on here. When I search for Google, it's kind of confusing because Google has this Drive versus Docs thing now. It's kind of strange, so it's hard to tell which one. But I found out it was Docs, and it looks like I should be integrating with Google Tasks probably.
All right, so you're going from Google Docs to Trello, I guess, right?
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
And in Google Docs, really what's happening is every time someone fills out this form, it adds a new row to this spreadsheet. So I want the trigger to be every time there's a new spreadsheet row, I want to create a card. So I hit continue, and it walks you through. This is fantastic service. Hit test this account. Just make sure your Google account's working. Make sure your Trello account's working. And then you get to actually choose the details. So it pings my Google and says, "What are your most recent docs?" So I pull down this service request form one. I think that's what it was. Yeah, service request one. And then the worksheet that I want. There's only one worksheet on there, but if you've got multiple worksheets. You could filter out stuff, so like, if they didn't include their name, then it filters out or something like that, so that you can squash robots. And then I have to choose my Trello stuff. So I want it to be on my requests board. And I want it to update my self-service list. And then I have to fill in the data. So I need to, say. So now it's looking at the Google Doc, and it's saying, all right, what are we asking them for? So we say name, requested, what you are requesting, and then in the description field, we're going to put in their contact info with our carriage return and description. And then you could do things. You could do things like putting prioritization on here. So if they say it's a high priority, you need to mark it red or whatever. You could customize that. If you have things like a due date, you could put that in here. That'd be a great one for a request system. I'm terrible at writing requirements, so no, I'm kidding. So we hit continue, they make you test it, and then it's just as simple as filling it out. So I'm going to test, hit continue, and then turn it on. So I'm going to say request, podcast, proof of concept, turn it on. It updates every 15 minutes, so it may not be live, but basically I'll go in here, and I'm just going to fill it out. So I'm pretending I'm Kathy S. Put in her phone number. Mouse. Actually, let's do keyboard so you can differentiate between my mock-up and this one.
And just to clarify, so we could actually have a different Trello action performed based on what they're ordering. So you can actually have kind of a workflow, tree here going in different directions.
Yes, what you can do on Google Forms is really nice. It's similar to like SharePoint, or there are some other online services that kind of do the same thing. But what you do is you can set up multiple pages now. So in the form, you go to Add Item and you say Page Break, and now I've got 2 pages. And let's say that this one is the mouse page, or mouse details page. So then what we can do is add things like multiple choice. Do you need an ergonomic mouse? And say yes, no, add other, make it required, hit done. So then what you do is you go up to this multiple choice one, and it gives you the option to go to a page based on answer. Say things like, go to the mouse detail page. And for keyboard, I'd go to the keyboard page, but in this case I'm going to skip to submit form because I'm not going to create all those subpages right now for you.
And then even from there, within Zapier, you could control which part of your request board it goes to based on if it needs an approval or not, based on what the item is, right?
Precisely. Yeah, and the other proof of concept, or the other question that someone asked, that I thought, so here's a good example of it kind of working. Something must have failed because it only showed up with requested. Maybe that's the test and it isn't done yet. But the other thing that they requested or asked about was what if we want to be able to change our request later? So I came up with this idea that on this form you can check this box, allow responders to edit responses after submitting. What you'd have to do that, though, I think, is you would have to, and here, let me just draw this out real quick. Oops, sorry, this was not meant to be a marketing promotion. What you would have to do then is you'd have to take Google Docs and pass over the information to Trello with Zapier, and then you'd have to make another Zap that anytime a card was created in that same vein, then you have to go back to Google Docs and add in like a Trello number or something, some sort of unique identifier, a number. That way, when someone edits it later, in this part, you can filter out and say, look for that number, and if it is, then you're updating the specific Trello card. I think that would work anyway, but I don't know.
I think the point is you can get pretty fancy with this stuff.
Yeah.
For free, shared within a team, pretty much developed on your own.
Yeah, and I think the thing that shocks me about it is how fast that is. So that took me 10 minutes. I ended up doing this. I made a service catalog so people can request like a website from me, or a logo, or just graphic stuff, or common request is I've got a PowerPoint presentation and I want all the images to look better, or at least be legal because I just copy pasted them from the web. And so like that's just an input mechanism, and then it updates my Trello board. My manager and I can go over, or whoever can go over my Trello board and say, nope, that's rejected. Nope, that's rejected. I got to email those people and reject it. And then this one's approved, and here's where it should be in your priority list. And then what's sick is that it updates a Google Calendar of when I'm working on all that stuff, because that same card becomes part of my task process.
Yeah. There's a heck of a lot of teams I know at Emory, and I'm sure most other companies, that are working requests from email for one thing or another. I mean, you'd be crazy not to set something like this up, because I hear so many teams complaining that they can't get developer resources to come up with a web form or workflow or purchase a request system of some kind. I mean, okay, so you just accomplished this in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
With the whole thing.
And I think what's kind of workflow. Yeah. It's sort of, it defines what I think service management should be. It's a platform that we need to provide to every employee so that they can.
Yes.
And I tweeted this today, and then what you're providing really is guidance along the way. Here's how you get people to adopt your request portal. Here's how you get people to Here's how you do good form design. Here is a way to architect your solution so that you're not missing this gap or whatever. And it offsets that need for you to have all these custom developers that are focused on this really heavy platform. But the key is, of course, as always, compliancy. And then the pushback that I got right away is this isn't a single point of contact. You know, I can't request any other employee's time out of this portal, so why would I go there for yours?
Well, what about, I mean, could you not use Trello and just use Google Form and push the output to email?
Mm-hmm. I mean, it does.
It does. So a lot of teams are already using a shared email box. Without using any shared Trello, you could still just push the customers to a web form on Google Docs and have that go straight to your shared mailbox like they do today. But you're collecting all the information that you usually have to do a lot of back and forth contact on.
Yep.
Right there. I mean, a team could do that without telling anyone else.
So the reason that I really wanted to do this today, and the reason that I guess it's not totally selfish, the reason that I wanted to do it. So now I feel like we've shown how to hack business technology. Adam Mason, if you are out there, this episode is dedicated to you so that you feel justified in our name of hacking business technology.
Yay!
But really, you know, I think, and we've had this discussion before, if you want to hack business technology, it has so little to do with technology anymore. The switching costs of going from one platform to the other. You know, someone said that. What if we get a request system for employees to request time? Then you can't use this anymore. And I said, great, that's perfect. They said, can't we use this really old, archaic platform that we have that's free? Yes.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're worried about losing data, you're in the same boat right now with your email box or whatever you're dealing with. I mean.
That's funny. We get these nasty grams when our mailboxes get too full, and I'm at 3 or 4 gigs. So I just I put in a ticket. I follow the process to delete my mailbox. I said, just delete everything. You should have heard the response. They were just shocked. You're going to delete everything? Sure. Yep. I don't use it for storage. It's not there for storage.
It's funny. We had a town hall meeting with all of IT, and I stood up and I asked a question, and I said, so based on the Sony hacking scandal and all that's going on, and this was the CIO, I said, if you knew that our email database was going to be publicly posted online in 6 months, what would you recommend that we do today? And people got a really big kick out of that question. I mean, it seemed pretty normal to me, but I think a lot of people were thinking I better start deleting some emails.
And that's a good thing, you know. It's like what you said with the phishing. You send out fake phishing scams, which is absolutely it makes me want to do that to my family so that I don't have to do tech support for them.
Oh, gosh.
But you can do the same thing with email. Pretend like it got hacked and see how people respond. See where stuff comes out, and it's in the phrasing of your question. That's why it's actually genius, because you're smart. You're putting him on the spot. You're saying, assume this really bad thing happens. Instead of, are we prepared for this bad thing to happen? You would just, anyone, he, she, it, would say yes. And it would be a bold-faced lie.
Well, yeah, I mean...
No, I can say that because I don't work for Emory, but I'm sure that people actually... You guys have a DR plan for that stuff.
I just think there's more that people need to be taught to do than just relying on the security of our infrastructure, you know.
Or relying on the security team.
Yeah.
Because they have so many... Oh, man. People just throw them bombs.
Well, I mean, look at the Sony hacking thing itself. I mean, they've pretty much determined that it was stealing an administrator's login and password. So it doesn't matter how secure you are. If that's how it happens, that's not even really hacking. You know? I mean, nothing was... somebody just stole the keys. It didn't get broken into, you know?
Yeah, I'd say change the locks. I mean, stop it with these username and passwords. It's not enough, people. You need to have systems that authenticate via a device or something, some sort of automation that you could trust.
Yeah. It's got to be more.
It'd be really good, you know. think about that. If you had a Facebook-like enterprise system, think about how easy it would be to add that to authentication. Show 5 pictures of current employees and 5 pictures of random people from the internet. Say, choose which of these are your coworkers, and if you answer them correctly, you're in the system.
Really, we already have all that data. We have, I love that idea. Well,
Facebook does that. When you forget your password, I think they make you say, like, this person's my friend and that person's my friend.
Yeah, I've seen a couple things like that.
Of course, there's social engineering you could use against that. I mean, just combine it with Facebook data or LinkedIn data.
Sure. But, I mean, it's been interesting. I mean, every week I seem to realize that I bring up these privacy-type things. And I've also found very interesting the decision of Jeb Bush to publish 250,000 emails from the last few years publicly. So, I mean, I'm not totally out in left field here. There are people who think that transparency, proactive, kind of preemptive transparency is the way to go. And I think that example right there is huge. More and more people will be moving in that direction. But
man,
that's huge, huh? I mean,
I didn't know he did that. I haven't heard that story.
He proactively published like the last several years of email.
Between like him and someone else, or all of his email?
All of his department's emails.
Oh, like work email.
Yeah.
Because he works for whom?
The government.
Oh, is he a governor or something? I don't know.
I don't know. He's down in Florida, I believe.
I know he's a Bush boy, so he probably is. I mean, he's at least in something like state politics.
Senator, governor, I don't even know.
Okay.
I am totally ignorant when it comes to Floridian politics. Sorry.
Man, that is awesome. I love that he did that.
Well, I mean,
it's also this double-edged sword then, because it's sort of like, hey, our hay is out there. Good luck finding anything in the stack.
People
really,
will though.
But really, you may not actually be sharing all the haystack.
Right. I mean, he could have picked a few things out first, of course.
Yeah, and so that's.
And who's going to look for what he's taken out when he's published everything? Who knows?
And I guess that's the security policy of tomorrow. You know?
Yeah, but I mean, still, going back to what we've offered here, if anyone can do this, I don't know, how do we get a handle on that?
I know what happens. After you get an email, you read an email, the system sends you a message that says, in 30 days, this email will be public automatically. Yeah. Would you like to delete this?
Well, what was it? There was something, I read an article saying Facebook was going to start doing that to you. Like, if you're posting like 40 pictures in quick succession at like 2 in the morning, it might ask you like, are you sure you haven't been drinking and you want to post these pictures? I don't know. It's kind of, that is Big Mother, as Chris would say.
Ha! Big Mother. Totally true. And, the thing is, it's just like sharing that username and password of that admin. You're drunk. You'll probably try to post them still.
Wow.
The system, we can design the system to do it, but you're still able to make bad decisions.
That's an interesting concept. I mean, I wonder if there's like lists of system administrators out, in nefarious groups, and they're, targets of social hacking.
Huh. All I heard was ITSMF USA and HDI. Right then, actually, you don't need system admins. You know what you need? You need the keys to the system that the system admins use.
That's true.
I wonder if that would be. So we should put that in the cloud.
Well, I mean, there's that old security concept of the password has to be shared amongst 2 or 3 people. I mean, that's kind of an interesting idea. Then you would have to, seduce 3 admins at one time or whatever.
Oh, this is getting expensive to hack. It's getting too expensive. We have to find both male and female compatriots.
It's like an orgy hack. I don't know.
No, but seriously, I mean, it would be. That actually might be something that they change about sharing what you do on LinkedIn. You know, I mean, how easy would it be to actually find all the people that work in IT at
Yeah.
Procter and Gamble?
Yes. Here's all the people who could potentially, through criminal activity, get me a lot of money.
And here's the syntax for their email addresses. Go.
Wow.
You know, I mean, that's basically what LinkedIn is sort of a leak about where a company's vulnerability lies in its humans.
Right. Yeah.
So, man, you really got to be able to trust your people.
Yeah.
The chain is only as strong as its weakest link, and I don't want to be that weakest link to you, Mark Kawasaki. I want to respect your time, so we will stop talking about this now. I hope you enjoyed the hacking this week. If you know Adam Mason and you're seeing this episode, send him a link. Tell him Matt Barron sent it, and we'll see you next week.
If you're doing anything through shared request box, email, try to do this. Let us know if you need any help.
Yeah,
Thanks, everybody.
Definitely. Adios.